Yeah, I think we will end up doing something that's a bit more definitive and bold and hopefully satisfying to people.
What's up, everyone? Tanya here with popculture.com, and I'm so excited to welcome Michael C. Hall, Peter Yanowitz, and Matt Katz-Bohen of the acclaimed avant indie trio Princess Goes to the Butterfly Museum. Guys, thanks for coming.
You're welcome.
So firstly, congrats on the debut album. Thanks for coming. I know this record has been a long time in the making and was even thought about before the pandemic. So the time that has passed from first writing the album to now releasing it, do you think the album's take on a tonal shift in perspective and meaning a year later?
I think everybody's hearing things through the filter of the past 18 months or more, with everything that's gone as crazy as it has. It's hard for people not to keep that kind of thing in mind when they hear stuff, consume stuff, think about stuff. I mean, we weren't necessarily thinking about the pandemic when we were writing a lot of these songs, but yeah, I think it's inevitable that it kind of reframes things.
Yeah. And, the wheelhouse of influences seems to fall between like Joy Division. I hear some early Nin, and of course, David Bowie. So I'm just wondering, with music being avant-garde and something that you can listen to for every mood, because the album is so versatile, how much do you want to test yourselves genre-wise?
That's a good question. Yeah, I think on our EP, we had 6 songs and they were all kind of different from each other. And we liked that sort of mashup. And then for the full length, we just continued that. And then we have another record that we just finished that I think also plays into that same feel where we like to jump around. And it's funny, we just wrote a set for our tour that's coming up this week in Europe. And the set's a little bit of a mashup and challenging to try to figure out how to lay it out. But it's fun for us. I mean, we like all kinds of music. Maybe one day we will make a record that all sounds like one thing, but I don't know.
Are you guys excited about the tour? I know that you guys are like rehearsing right now, and you've got a show right before Thanksgiving in New York. So you guys are like super stoked. You're pumped. Like what can we expect from the live shows?
Yeah, we're thrilled to be playing again. It's been amazing. We already did 2 shows here in New York. Where are you, by the way?
I'm in Toronto, so I'm hoping you guys come up here in 2022.
Definitely.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We have to. I remember the Elma combo up there.
I've been there. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so yeah, we can't wait.
Yeah,
I mean, it's great after having been, unable to play in front of an audience. It's a treat to be able to do that again.
Mm-hmm. And Matt, I heard your daughter actually inspired the name for the band, which I think is it's so great and it's so different. Which it also feels pretty whimsical, but the tone of the music and then the lyrics are quite opposite to that sentiment. So I'm wondering, was that intentional in terms of the sentiment, showing nothing like is what it seems, or was that just a blip of like serendipity?
Maybe both, I guess. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I feel like we do have a lot of whimsicality within us, and the name kind of reflects that. Mm-hmm. That scary as some of the themes can be.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think when Matt came and shared that name with us, I think we immediately actually felt like, oh yeah, that's kind of what our music sounds like.
Yeah.
So to us, they're a little more in sync, but I could certainly appreciate how the name is maybe a little more whimsical than some of the some of the lyrics and maybe feel of the music. But it's a big museum. There are lots of rooms, lots of wings. I
think that works out really well. I'm actually in love with this album. I love the lyrics of this album. I love the beats and the tones, and I feel like it's very nuanced and layered. And I actually get very emotional listening to Airhead. So I'm just wondering, can you share what that's about and where the influence came from for that?
Yeah.
That was an instrumental track that I don't know exactly where the lyrics came from.
We were listening to a lot of Boston.
Yeah, the chorus is very Boston.
And I'm sort of nostalgic I grew up playing drums to those records, those Boston, Kansas, Styx, all the greatest classic rock ever. And no, I mean, I think, we made that in this room. I think Matt and I were here one day and we just banged it out, synthesizers and drums, and sent it to Mike, and he fell into that epic kind of chorus. And I think the patch on the Matt's keyboard was called Airhead. It was a patch on this special keyboard he has. And that's where the name came from. And I don't know if it was like chicken for the egg, like if the name inspired the words. I don't know. Do you remember?
Honestly, I think that's what we were calling it temporarily. And it just kind of felt right. And as far as the lyrics of the verses, I mean, I would say that more than any other song, they just sort of came out. And I think maybe it is about some sort of longing for something, a return of some sort, but it wasn't something I was explicitly intending to write about. It just sort of happened.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like songwriting comes naturally to you guys? Like, is it just something like, I know that all of you, two of you, except for Michael's been in movies and TV and stuff, but you two have been musically inclined for years. And Michael, I know you've been on Broadway too. So does it come more natural than acting for you versus, or are they both in different realms?
I mean, depends on how wide the realm is. I think ultimately they're in the same realm, but when you're creating your own material and putting across your own material, it's a very different thing than interpreting other people's writing and worlds and what have you. But I don't know. I think there's something that the three of us experience as a trio that none of us have quite experienced apart from this little collective. So we're just trying to, keep it burning.
Mm-hmm. And I love that it's so, I feel like it comes right from in here. Like obviously all music does, but like your music, I feel like it's very different tonally from the other sorts of music out there today. And I'm just excited that all these, listeners get to hear all this stuff from you guys. And one of the songs, Eden Eraser, is another fun favorite one. And I love that song. I feel like you can jam to it too. How do you three work off one another while songwriting?
Good question.
Yeah. So many ways. I mean, it's weird. Like we've written songs here in the studio all together, and we've written songs where Mike will send a voice note from his phone around and we'll write to that, or Peter sends an idea, or I'll send an idea, or two of us get together and work on something. So there's no we just try not to impose limits, because you can catch it, creativity anywhere at any time, really. I mean, Peter still has an old recording from Mexico of this music from a church that he was just walking by, and one of these days we're going to turn that into a song, hopefully.
Yeah, I hope so too. I mean, like, it's natural that we're going through all these things that are happening right now. You guys are on tour. You're going to be heading overseas right now. So I just feel like it's natural for you to like write about the experience, because it does play like poetry, right? So it makes sense. So tell me about the tour. I'm very excited for everybody overseas. I am a little envious that we don't get to see you guys as yet, but tour overseas, you're going to 16 cities. Is there a city that you're very excited to visit, or one that you've never been to?
There are a good number of cities in the UK that I've never been to. I've never been to Bristol. I've never been to Swansea. I've never been to, where else have I never been? I've never been to Glasgow. I think you guys have been there. But I'm excited about all of those rooms and those ears and human bodies who'll be filling that space. It's going to be really, we've played a good number of shows, but they've all been here in New York. We were about to go on a mini trip out west right before the pandemic hit, and that got canceled. And actually the 16 shows I think are now going to be more like
11
or yeah. because of what's going on in Germany, we're not canceling them, we're just postponing them, that and the Kiev shows. But yeah,
we're really excited. I mean, it's our first time getting out of New York, and our first time to actually play consecutive nights. So I feel like it'll be great learning. We'll come back a different band, and I think we're all getting excited for some touring in the new year in the States, and hopefully get up to Canada and play for you in Toronto would be amazing. You think people would like us there?
Yeah, of course they would. I mean, we are very welcoming. I don't know if you've heard of Canada, but we're very nice. So, one of the things I love so much about you guys being in New York is that the city is such a beautiful setting for music making with experiences all around you. And I'm wondering, do you ever feel your songwriting and music is influenced from your settings?
I don't know. I mean, I think, we're musically and maybe lyrically, our influences are as extensive as everything we've ever heard and everything that, I don't really set out to write songs about current events. If any lyrics like speak to what's going on in the world, I guess that makes sense because I'm a citizen of the world. But and New York is definitely a part of just, it gets in your bones, there's a rhythm to it, and there are certain sounds that the city makes that probably make their way into the sounds we make.
Yeah, literally. Like, we're in Union Square right now, or just off of Union Square, and we do all of our vocals in this room, and there's always a siren going off on the street down there that makes it onto the recording. So almost every one of our songs has a siren on it. Yeah,
deep buried in the mix, there's a siren in probably every song.
Yeah. Well, I think it's great. And I'm having so much fun talking to you guys, but I know that you have to get back to rehearsals and you have like a busy week ahead. But because I'm from popculture.com, and Michael, you play a character on a show that has been cemented in the vernacular of pop culture, I have to ask.
The guy over your right shoulder there.
Yeah, you maybe gave it away. Yeah. What track do you think Dexter Morgan would have on his playlist from Princess Goes to the Butterfly Museum?
Bombed Out Sights.
Yeah.
First one. It's sort of just calms him down. A little sort of trance. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Peter and Matt, do you guys love Dexter? Were like fans who were kind of upset about that finale? Michael's not in the room right now. Just pretend he's away.
I'll go first. I'm embarrassingly, I haven't watched it yet, and I'm very excited to dive into it and watch it. Matt's watched it a lot.
I did watch it. Usually before rehearsal, I'll just go through it, the whole thing, just so I can be mentally prepared. I haven't seen the new one yet, but my Aunt Connie loves it. So shout out to Connie, and it's great.
Were you guys like asking him for spoilers? I know, like in the DC Marvel universe,
I don't care.
They don't care. No. Okay.
I don't care.
They don't care.
It's great.
That must be really nice to not have like all of that saturated. But before I do let you go, with all that we've seen these past few weeks of Dexter New Blood, Michael, do you think the audiences will finally get the closure they've wanted after that finale?
Maybe.
Okay. Closure over.
I don't want to. Yeah, I think it will be. I think we will end up doing something that's a bit more definitive and bold and hopefully satisfying to people.
Yeah. Well, Michael, Peter, and Matt, thanks for coming today, fellas. I really had a great chat with you. Princess Goes to the Butterfly Museum's debut record is out now, and they're going to be heading on tour this winter as well. For more on the band and all your music news, keep it locked to popculture.com for the latest.